Hey there and welcome. Thanks for joining me. If you're new to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. And also don't forget to click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. It'll help my channel grow. So for today's tutorial, we're going to do two different ones. The first one I'm going to show you how to make is the topiary with pumpkins and succulents. I'm painting a few of these orange pumpkins the color Khaki and some other ones Pieter gray, and those are from apple barrel paints. And each one of these pumpkins you'll need to paint it depending on how good of a coat you want of the paint on your pumpkins. I would say 1 to 2 coats. Just allow them to dry between each coat that you put on of the pumpkins. I couldn't find any more white ones, so I had to use these orange ones. And I'm just painting them again, the gray and the khaki. And also I'm using some of these little miniature glitter pumpkins. I believe there's 24 or 12 in a pack. And I'm using just a few of each and painting them each color, the gray, the khaki, and I also painted a few of them white. So once you've painted them all completely, just go ahead and set them aside and allow them to dry. And it doesn't take very long for them to dry either, but just go ahead and do that. And then we're going to use one of these triangle foams. And what I did, this is since I had some extra gray paint, I went ahead and just painted the foam just in case you could see through the filler that I'm going to add to this cone. But this again is optional. You don't have to do that. Now you can either use moss, or I'm using one of these plant fillers that I've had from a previous project, and I just cut it in strips and basically pulled it apart and opened it. And this is what I'm going to glue to my triangle. But again, my foam, you can use moss or the green, the plant filler that they also have at Dollar Tree, or you can leave it as is, just painted. But again, I'm just adding this on just because I know that you are going to be able to see in between my pumpkins and succulents, and I didn't want the color of paint to be seen. So I went ahead and added this. So just go ahead and wrap it around or glue whatever you decide to actually add to your triangle, your foam. And then what we're going to start doing is gluing the pumpkins and the succulents and some greenery to our foam. Now this is one of the clay pots that I had already from another project that I painted the khaki brown as well. And what I'm doing is with the same plant filler, I'm just going to cut it up in strips and fill it into my pot. And that's what's going to keep my cone in place. Of course, you can use a foam as well, but I just wanted to use up some of the products and items that I had in my storage. So just go ahead and use whatever you decide to use to fill in your pot. And again, this is one of the pots that they were at Dollar Tree a while back, but you can always get it at your local hardware store or even at Walmart. And they're about 68 cents to 99 cents at Walmart, depending on the size. So go ahead and place your foam into the pot and you get your succulents. I'm using 3 different style succulents, and what I do, and you've seen me do this before with my succulents, I cut them in little pieces depending on what succulent it is, just so I can have more flowers and get more bang for my buck. So what I did after I cut all the succulents, I set those aside, grabbed my pumpkins, and using the same sticks that come in the miniature pumpkins, I just broke up pieces of it and actually inserted them into my larger pumpkins to make it easier for me to add them onto my foam. And if you don't have these, you can always use toothpicks or some wiring, just something to help you insert them onto your foam, because the glue, if not, you'll have to hold on to the pumpkin until the glue dries, because if not, it'll fall down. And this way with the stick, it just easily, you can just slide it on in and it'll stay in place. So what I did, I had no kind of set way of adding my pumpkins. I just randomly placed them where I saw fit or where I thought they needed a pumpkin. But I tried to make sure that they weren't all the same color in the same area. Try to scatter one gray one, tan one, and one white one, and then did the same thing again until I used up all my larger pumpkins. Of course, you can add them any way you like, but like I said, I thought this was going to be an organic topiary, so I wanted it to look more of the natural, not so pattern-wise, just to have it more of a natural look. So once I added all my larger pumpkins and I was happy, I went ahead and started gluing on my succulents and then my little miniature pumpkins as well. And I would remove them, especially my little miniature pumpkins. I would add and remove them and place them in different areas just until I was happy to where I had them. So I just continued doing this throughout my entire topiary until I completely finished all my succulents and all my little small pumpkins. Now, if you see my succulents, some of them did fall. So what I would recommend is when you do glue your succulents onto your foam, make sure you hold it for a few seconds to allow it to actually stick on and dry a little bit, just so it can stay in place. So once you're completely done, go ahead and start adding your little pumpkins. And like I said, it took me a while just to kind of figure out where I wanted to place them and where I thought it would look best. So once you see here, I'm trying to figure out where to place one. And you can add as many as you like or as little as you like. Once I was done adding all the rest of my little miniature pumpkins, I went ahead and got some of these hydrangeas, and I had one bunch left over. So what I did was cut the bunches off the stem and then cut the flowers individually and added some glue and then just kind of inserted them in between my pumpkins and succulents just to fill it in so there wouldn't be such a huge amount of gap in between each of my pumpkins. And I used, again, one stem of the hydrangeas, but you can use the white flowers, even some fall color flowers, just depending on what color you want to use. But I wanted this to be more of the natural organic color look. So I went with the green succulent, the green hydrangeas. And now with this vintage lace from Dollar Tree as well, I just made a bow, and also with some jute twine. I tied the bow together, and then I made a smaller bow with using some of my jute twine, wrapping it around my fingers just a few times to make that bow. And if you see, I have that green burlap because I had thought maybe I would use it, but I didn't like it, so I just left it aside, and I actually liked it better with just the vintage lace and some jute twine. And once I was done with both bows, I just went ahead and glued them together, and then I glued the bows to my flower pot. And there you have it. Your organic fall topiary. What do you guys think about this one? I actually love it, love it, love it for my kitchen. And I placed it right next to a greenery around a ball. And then I remember that I had my white pumpkin that I made also with succulents. So I have it displayed with that as well. So here is our second DIY for today, and we're going to do a mailbox swag. So what I'm using is some of this greenery, fall greenery, some of the wheatgrass, and some of the other, I guess it's like I forgot what it's called, but it's the other kind of grass that you see with the yellow on top, this one right here. So I used one bunch of each one of the wheats and then 2 bunches of the greenery with the squash and little berries on them. And I also used one of the long stems with the pumpkins because I didn't have any more pumpkins from the packages. So I used that one that came with two. And basically, I wanted to show you how I make my swags. I separate all the different things that I have for my swag. So like for instance, I had 4 of these stems with berries. So I put 3 in a row and then 1 going up wherever your front is going to be, in other words. Then I went to the one with the 2 little squashes and I put those on either side of my 1 berry on top, if that makes sense. And then with the other ones, I went 1 diagonal, kind of like an X. Yeah, and then I did the same with the other wheat, the opposite way to form that other angle, like so. And then this is how you end up making your flower decorations. At least that's the way I do it. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it, but this is the way I basically always try to do it, so it can even out and balance. And then anything else that I have extra, I just fill it in wherever I see fit. And then anything like the greenery, I just add it on as I see fit and think we need it. Now, since I only used about 2 or 3 of the stems of these bunches, I went ahead and cut some more off and added some more of this wheatgrass. You guys let me know in the comments down below where you're going to place your topiary and if you're thinking of making one of these mailbox swags. And if you do you do one for every holiday? I actually never have made one. I've always wanted to, but for some reason I've never made one until this year, and I'm loving it. So I think I'm going to end up making one for Christmas as well. So if you want to see a DIY of my Christmas mailbox swag, let me know also in the comments down below, and I'll make a video for you guys so you can see what items I'll be using for my Christmas theme swag. So here I'm adding some more of the other wheatgrass. And this one basically, since it's kind of like a filler to me, I just wanted to add it on as I saw fit. But that's just to taste. You can use all of it if you like. And then once you're happy, just go ahead and add on the rest of your greenery, which I try to leave some of it towards the end so I can fill in any gaps that I may have in between flowers or, any kind of arrangement that I'm making. And that's basically how I try to make my flower arrangements for anything. So here I have some of this burlap Halloween theme zigzag orange and black ribbon that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make a bow the way I always do, make my little round circles, and then I just glue the ends together, and I just make as many as I want depending on how big I want my bow. So here I'm making 3 of them, and then once I do, I just go ahead and bend them where I glued them, and I make an X, and then I put the third one basically straight in the middle of my X of my other 2. And then I did that to the same with the green, because I finally ended up using this little piece of green burlap that I still had of the ribbon because I wanted to finish it. But you can use any colors you have. And now to make the tails of my bow, I ended up using the same orange and black zigzag and just made a triangle at the top where I folded it and then let the rest hang, and that's going to be my bow tail. So with the rest of the greenery, I went ahead and made a round circle to add to the top of my bow to finish it off. And this is how I make my bow. Now, in order to add this to your mailbox, you can do 2 different things. You can either use jute twine like I am, or if you have long enough zip ties, go ahead and use some zip ties on your swag and it'll stay perfectly fine on your mailbox. So what I did, it was just cut a little bit extra longer than what I knew I was going to need, but I wanted to make sure I had enough jute twine on here, and glued it onto my foam, making sure that I had enough jute twine on either side of the foam. Then I wrapped it around a few times and tied a knot around my foam. And that's how I'm going to tie my swag to my mailbox. Now to add my bow, I did add some hot glue but it does get a little windy, so I wanted to make sure it was going to stay in place and be secure. So I got a piece of wiring and I inserted it into my bow as much as I possibly could, using some pliers if you have any, and you'll see me grab mine, and I just pushed it all the way in, and that would make it nice and secure. And this is how it looks on my mailbox. So what do you guys think about this project? And again, let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ever made one before. Well, until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed these 2 tutorials. You guys stay blessed. Bye.